Welcome, everyone. This is the PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating podcast. Here we chat about all things boating with marine industry professionals and enthusiasts who spend all the time they can out on the water.
Hi, this is Tanya Becker, and I'm one of your hosts for today's episode of PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating. I'm joined by my co-host, Mike Newton, the general manager of PartsVu, and Scott Hersey, a district marketing manager at Yamaha Motor Corporation. Today, we're going to talk about just some of the ways technology is transforming the experience of both boating and boat ownership overall. Yamaha's approach to technology has been particularly interesting, as it seems as though there's a lot of focus on creating a much more integrated experience. The recent launches of the MyYamahaOutboards app and Helm Master are just a couple of examples, but I'm sure there are plenty of others. First of all, Scott, do you agree with my assessment that Yamaha has focused a ton on creating a more integrated boating experience?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is all about intuitive and just how do we make a big boat drive like a small boat, right? And then how do we control things, like we have things to control in our house when we walk in, and we can turn the lights on with our phone, or we can unlock the door with our phone while we're still in the car. So it's all about the customer experience and making it comfortable of what everybody's used to. It just takes time to bring that to the marine industry. But yes, everybody's getting to that point. And so integrated boating experience is a very good phrase for sure.
Let's talk for a minute about the I believe it just launched last month in July of 2021, I think. The MyYamaha Outboards app, and I think it really seems quite helpful to help boaters manage maintenance schedules, communicate with their dealerships, local mechanics, et cetera. Can you just give us a bit of an overview about the app and what you're seeing out there in the market in terms of response to it?
Yeah, absolutely. You were right. We just launched this pretty much last month, but I can tell you, we have been working on this for a long time. So everybody's been patiently waiting for this to kind of come out. But no, I actually have it right here. So I actually had to download it myself. I've got a boat, and I wanted to go through and check this thing out. So it's awesome. The app will mainly focus on service and being able to record your service history throughout the life of your engine. So it's specific to a primary ID number, but it's got all the fun other things of an app. Like I've got a picture of my boat. I could have a picture of myself on here if I wanted to, but I've got a picture of my boat, the exact brand and the type of boat it is, a preferred dealer, a marina that I go to. So, I could go through this app one by one if you wanted me to, but everybody can see this, and you can go to a consumer website, you can see all the fun stuff. But it's just, you can even record a trip and make notes about that trip in this app, along with, all your maintenance history. And that's really the key thing about this is recording your maintenance history. So if you take your boat to a dealership right now and they do a 100-hour service, for example, they can record into our system, YMBS, Yamaha Marine Business System. They can record into their dealer system that 100-hour service. And then when you go in to refresh your app, it'll show up that your 100-hour service was performed by, XYZ dealer. So not only can the dealer do that, but I can do that. So I just did my own break-in service, my 20-hour break-in service. And I can go in, and since I'm a do-it-yourself guy, I can record the service that I did, and it will stick with that serial number of that engine. So if I sell it later, it still goes with that engine serial number.
And it's kind of like, how proactive is the app in suggesting maintenance? So at your 20-hour mark, does it let you know 5 hours before that mark, at the mark? What's that like?
Yeah, so we have, our goal at Yamaha is to try to get the dealer involved as much as possible. So not only are we reminding the dealer on a dealer level, we actually send them emails to their email addresses just between Yamaha and the dealer constantly to say, hey, you registered this engine, it's pretty much due for a 20-hour service or a 100-hour service break-in. But not only do we do that with the dealer so they can contact you, now we're going to give you reminders on here as well. If you opt into it, your email address as well. So yeah, you get reminders on here. And it's not like we know what your engine hours are. So it's not like we're counting your engine hours. We don't have that access yet. I'm sure at some point it's going to be down the road. But it's based off like a time frame. You bought your engine 6 months ago or 12 months ago. It's time for a 100-hour service. So we shoot you a reminder on the app. And if you opt into the email, we can shoot you email reminders as well. Yeah.
Nice. And like if you, like you said, you're a do-it-yourself guy, right? So that's awesome. A lot of guys out there like that. So then, you go in, you perform your own 100-hour service, let's say. Is there any concern there from a warranty standpoint, right? Your work, you're doing it yourself, using Yamaha stuff, everything's still covered, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you basically can't void our warranty. Yes. I mean, we even sell your oil change kits for your DIY guys and ladies. So yeah, it's not going to void your warranty just because you're doing your own service. Obviously, you can't do warranty work on here. Warranty work still needs to go to an authorized Yamaha dealer, but your typical oil changes and things like that. Yeah, and it's good. You can now record it instead of, somebody having to put it in an Excel spreadsheet just to show that customer later or something. It's all recorded.
And it's great for the history of the boat. I mean, I know when, you're buying a used boat, there's a lot of questions, right, that comes up about that and, what's going on. So that's awesome. That now it's so simple to keep track of. So, yeah.
Yeah. As a user, it's simple. Of course, you have to put it in there as a user. But if you go to a dealer, it's going to get put in there at some point. So it's pretty much automatically going to happen. So it's really cool.
And it seems like an easy way for the DIYer to communicate with the dealer too, to when they go in for more complex or warranty service, like, this is what I've done, and it seems easy to try to transmit that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you actually have a preferred dealer on here or a preferred marine location that you can keep right at your fingertips. So who's doing it. It kind of creates a more personal relationship, brings that customer back to the dealer, and it just keeps the service flowing. So.
And I like your comment about it's not tracking hours yet. We'll keep lobbying Yamaha for that feature because it doesn't seem to mean, I'm not a developer of really, applications or computer things, but it doesn't seem that hard. So, we'll push on that one. Right?
Yeah. I don't see it being like next month or maybe next year, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised here sometime in the future we'll be able to see hours.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the auto industry is bringing that on, right? I mean, now your car will certainly suggest.
Well, I mean, how's it usually go? Like you've got the aviation industry, the automotive industry is behind the aviation so many years. The marine industry is behind the automotive industries so many years. So yeah, it'll eventually make it to us for sure.
And above the aviation industry, I think, is NASA, but they don't have to worry about hours so much on. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, so
who knows? It's all classified.
Exactly, right?
It's under lock and key.
So another just kind of direction, related to this integrated boating experience is Helm Master, which I think that was launched last year or maybe the year before.
Our Helm Master, not to interrupt you, our Helm Master EX, which is version 2, was just launched last year. Our original, or you could call it legacy Helm Master, was actually launched. I was actually trying to find that out this morning, to be honest with you. It's at least 7 years ago. It was at least 7 years ago when we originally launched Helm Master. But the new Helm Master EX was just last year.
And I imagine that's quite a bit more. I mean, just technology itself has advanced so much in 7 years, right? I mean, this has to be a major kind of upgrade, I would think.
Yeah, Helm Master itself, when it was originally launched, was just awesome. Just the boat control system itself. It's a fully integrated boat control system. So then it was fantastic. And now with version 2 or Helm Master EX, it is just stepped up exponentially. So it's got some really awesome features in it.
Can you speak to some of those features and how it helps with this integrated, experience?
Oh, we could talk about it for an hour itself. So if I go too long, just say, Scott, we've heard enough. So yeah, Helm Master, the new Helm Master EX, the biggest thing about it is now that our engines come integrated with electronic steering. So there's no more hydraulics, and that's certain engines, but there's no more hydraulics back there. So it allows us to use a software that is just instantaneous in boat control. So we have also added our own autopilot into that. So that means now features of Helm Master or joystick capabilities, we've now been able to add more features because they use autopilot. So Helm Master is a fully boat control system. A lot of people think it is just, they call Helm Master and they think it's a joystick. That's what they assume it is. That is a piece of it. But for Helm Master EX, we kind of have it in different stages. So stage one is you have the electric steering with the engine, and you have our new control box or throttle. Once you have those, you can add the autopilot. And then if you have autopilot, you can add the joystick feature. And it has to go in that order because that's how they work. Joystick features like fish point, drift point, and stay point, those are all part of the Helm Master system. You have to have autopilot to be able to use some of those features. So yeah, just like if you're out fishing offshore, and you want to stay over a reef or a rock or something, you can just hit fish point and it will hold you in that spot. Drift point is something where you can hold your heading and you drift with the wind or the current. Now with autopilot, that has been stepped up. So say you have a peninsula or a dock that is in your way while you're drifting. You can create a track on there to where as you're drifting, the engines will move you back, go around that peninsula or dock, and then move you back forward as you're drifting. And those are features of the autopilot. So it's really cool to be able to do that. And then stay point is a different feature. Stay point and fish point are similar, except stay point is something like when you're sitting at a bridge, you're waiting for that thing to go up, go down, but you're in strong current. Stay point will use all RPM levels to keep you in that one spot. Fish point uses low RPM levels so it doesn't drown out your chart while you're trying to see fish on your chart plotter and all that fun stuff. So it uses low RPMs. It has a high and a low, but typically it keeps you in low. So yeah, and then of course you have our all new autopilot system. So the autopilot system is just fantastic itself. So what it is. You can track where you want to go and it'll take you there. So
has there been any concern? I mean, like, hydraulics systems were, reasonably proven in the marine industry, right? They've been out for, many, many years. Was there concern around the reliability, the durability with an electric system in the marine environment?
Hydraulic system is still the primary use right now in the marine industry. Eventually, I'm sure things will change, but that's going to be years down the road. Hydraulics are still a little more affordable, so they're still going to be a huge part of the marine industry. And so many boat brands. Was
there extra testing that went in place around the electric components here, that are being utilized, just to think about that?
I know for a fact, like our XTO. So for one, the electronic steering itself is maintenance free. There is nothing that needs to go in there and you need to add fluid or add grease or, whatever. It's maintenance free for the life of the engine. So yeah, it's pretty impressive what it can do. But I know for a fact our XTO, so our 425 horsepower, was tested here in the States for 3 to 4 years before it came to the market. And then I know obviously for a fact in Japan, they did years of testing there. So there's a lot of testing that went into this electronic steering. And now it's down to the 300. So our new 300 that was just introduced has that electric steering integrated from the factory. Maintenance free, and it's awesome.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Can you? And that's maintenance free is such a huge key in the boating world. That's the thing. So yeah. Can you speak about? I think with a new release, with the new Helm Master upgraded system, it is now available on much smaller, lower horsepower engines and single engines. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Helm Master itself is now. We just won an innovation award at IBEX last year, so 2020. For single engine Helm Master, which is a joystick all the way down to single engine boat control. So typically you see Helm Master on larger boats, twin engine, triple engine, quad engine, and bigger, if you can believe that. But yeah, typically it's on big boats, but now we've integrated it down to its first ever joystick single engine boat control system. So it's pretty awesome. So you can get down to smaller boats for sure.
That's amazing, given the dynamics that are involved with controlling a boat in a single engine, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, instead of having the response of electric steering is insane. If you've never handled it before or driven it before, go to your dealer, go to a demo day or something to where they have it, because with a joystick, you literally just move that thing half an inch and the engine is hard over in one direction. So the instantaneous of being able to park a boat at a dock with just a joystick, just half an inch movements instead of, doing that, just the instantaneous, right. Yeah, looking back, doing this, looking back, throttle up, throttle back, turn the wheel. It's amazing. That's what we're all used to, because those of us who drive boats, that's all we've ever done. Look, turn, throttle, look, But now with just a joystick, you could be looking backwards and you're literally just turning your finger forward, back, left, right, and you're not even having to deal with a throttle and a steering wheel.
Which is great. I mean, it's especially for newer boaters. Which it's amazing how many new boats were sold in 2020. I think I looked at the numbers earlier this week, and 310,000 new power boats were sold in 2020. I mean, it's insane, And so, like, for newer boaters, it's docking is hugely stressful. I mean, it's a difficult skill, I think, for a lot of people to learn.
Absolutely. The amount of boats that have been sold in the past year, records have been broken. It's pretty wild.
Boating accident records are also hit a new high, but that's maybe a podcast discussion for another time.
Hashtag qualified captain. Yeah.
But Yamaha's Helm Master is turning everyone into immediate seasoned captains, right? I mean, my God, you can look good no matter what.
Right. There you go. Yep. I like it. Look at you, a salesman already.
The other thing I found kind of interesting about Helm Master, as it kind of indirectly kind of correlates to the MyYamahaOutboards app, is I think Helm Master lets you keep track of engine trim and that kind of thing that you like in different conditions, which you would imagine you could also log that in notes under your within your MyYamahaOutboards app. I mean, so it's just kind of helping you to manage your boat in a couple of different ways, I guess.
Yeah, the app is very intuitive, and this is honestly just the beginning. I mean, we're literally just putting the legs on this thing, and it's kind of crawling, and pretty soon it's going to start walking, and then after that, it's going to start running. So with the app right now, it's really geared towards maintenance, tracking maintenance, bringing that customer, reminding them, hey, let's get it back to the dealer so we can get your service done, and record all of that. But down the road, it can do much more. So I think we're going to see a lot when we start getting legs underneath this app for sure.
So here's the $1 million question, or maybe if you're Yamaha, the $1 billion question. Where do you see boating technology heading? What do you think the future holds?
Oh, geez. I think, Mike, we were talking about this before we got started. So Yamaha is now working or in a partnership with Siren Marine. So SIREN, Siren Marine. And if you go to their website, we've got it advertised on our website, consumer website. Siren actually has it advertised on their website that we are now in partnership. And Siren Marine is a, what do they call themselves? A computer systems. Oh, they have a saying. I said it earlier.
The Internet of Things. The
Internet of Things. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are a business that is an Internet of Things. And I remember hearing that for the first time. I was like, what? So if you go to their website, these guys, I mean, they've got the integration to where we all now you can walk out of your car and unlock your door. You can be in your car and turn your lights on in your house, and vice versa. And you just use these apps for so many things that are a part of everybody's daily life now. And so these guys are pretty much bringing that world into the marine industry, which is easier said than done. Way easier said than done, because in automotive, everything is completely waterproof and confined, pretty much controlled, at least internally, and everything that functions internally. But when you're in the marine industry, your electronics are just taking a hit on waves. So they're just jerked around every single day or whenever you're on the boat. And then, of course, you have the salt water, and everything's pretty much exposed. So it's hard to get that technology reliable. But Siren Marine has been doing some great stuff. Obviously, we've partnered with them now. So with systems that we have at our fingertips to be able to use, I see this technology going to be very important as we go forward, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we go back to automotive and say that, I mean, obviously, Tesla's making a big play towards the autonomous vehicle, so it really seems like now with a lot of technology Siren is implementing, thinking about Helm Master, once those two kind of start talking to each other, you could really see some potential there to say, hey, I want to go to this barrier island today, right? And let's go and let's set the house lights to this, and let's start with the stereo on X and just kind of sit back and go, right? I mean, it just seems pretty like it's unlimited.
Yeah, they have a really cool video on their website. It's basically you're sitting at home or some guy's working at the gym and your shore power comes undone. And you get an alert on your phone that your boat, however far away it may be, the shore power just got unhooked. So your batteries may be dead by the time, or send somebody down there. But yeah, you can turn your lights on when you pull up with your car. So go ahead and turn that lights on your boat so you can see with your gear getting onto the boat. So some of that stuff is really cool, and everybody's kind of used to it, on our daily life. And now we're just bringing it to the marine industry. So technology is going to be pretty wild coming down the road. We of course have that horsepower, struggle here in the U.S. Who has the biggest horsepower? Who has the biggest horsepower? At some point, that's got to end, but it may never end. I mean, consumers demand it, so we still make it. But it's always been that horsepower, struggle back and forth. But I think the future is technology, boat control systems, and technology for the consumer.
This is kind of a curmudgeon-y kind of a comment, but Mike's comment about autonomous boating, which I think will come. I mean, it takes some of the skill out of the game. I mean, when cars are so technology integrated now. I mean, I still have my manual transmission. I actually feel like I know how to drive a car, which is a wholly obsolete skill. You don't even have to know how to parallel park anymore. Just hit a button.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess we'll all have to use people that don't really know how to boating if one of these, because technology will just do it for us, I suppose.
Yep, you're exactly right. That's a part of the joystick thing. It's just you can do it so simple. So many of us are used to doing and working hard for that, but now it's just like, yeah, it's pretty wild.
The working hard, I mean, maybe I'm just old, but the working hard is kind of part of the fun a little bit. But anyway, I'll get used to it. I'll adapt to this new brave world.
That's how we grew up, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it is fun to land a perfect docking, right, in front of a crowd at a bar or restaurant, right? You're coming in, the tide's against you, the wind's against you, and you just nail it. It's very rewarding, so yeah.
Yeah, and the person next to you is screwing up, and it's like you feel good about yourself. Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
But definitely a lot to be said about, the ease of boating, the ease of boat maintenance, right? And the accessibility of boating with technology being considered. So I think it's good. It's good both ways. Traditionalists can still be traditionalists, right? But those that want to enjoy can enjoy.
Do you see, is Yamaha moving toward, electric powered engines, like that kind of technology, or is that not on the horizon yet?
I want to say I don't know anything internally that we've discussed. So, but I have to believe Yamaha looks not only just 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. Our management staff and the staff at Japan look 20 and 30 years down the road. So I have to believe that technology is obviously getting looked at. Is it anywhere close? I highly doubt it, especially with the boating and all the batteries that you need. I mean, we're trying to get as much amperage output from our engines because they're adding so many screens onto these boats now and things like that. So you've got to make sure you have enough, battery output to control all these new electronic things that are going onto the boats. So with fully electronic engines, you've got to have a lot of batteries for that, a lot of power. And then, of course, it's got to be able to last. You don't want to get out and drive it for an hour and then it's done, spent. So, yeah, I'm sure it's getting looked at, but we'll see where everything goes. I mean, the electric steering is one thing. So that's
And as long as this horsepower war continues, that's got to be a long way in the future, right? So
I've been in the industry for going on 15 years, almost 15 years. I worked at a marina in Northwest Georgia for 8 years. And I just remember, a 150 was a big engine then, 200 was a big engine then, and then it's just gone. It's nonstop, going up, going up, going up. Twin engine boat was a big boat back then. Early 2000s, a twin engine boat was big. And now we have these.
Think about that. That's like, what, 12 years then, 15 years. That's amazing, really.
And now a 4 or 5 engine, outboards on the back. It's just.
And not only that, but, boats that traditionally were inboard powered now moving to outboard power. That's another big thing. Yeah.
That's been a huge, huge growth. I would say in the past 5 years alone. It's been longer than that, but for sure in the past 5 years, these inboard boats, smaller 23s, 24s, 26, that are now no longer inboards, have changed their design to have an outboard on the back of it. So, yeah, big growth in that area.
And that's got to be, there's a lot of benefit there, but reliability certainly comes into play. My gosh, a Yamaha outboard is so proven and has such an excellent history of that has to come into consideration.
Yeah, reliability for one, but maintenance for two, allows for easier maintenance and then allows more room in the boat. Everybody demands for more room, more space. They need all that space in the boat to put all their, coolers and beers and toys and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, it opens up space for the boat.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much. But before I let you go, Scott, can you share a piece of non-Yamaha information, some of your favorite places to boat?
Oh, for me,
it's kind of hard to narrow that down, I'm sure.
So I grew up most of my life up in Georgia, so the lake life is fantastic for me. But since I've moved down here to Florida, I've picked up free diving. So I free dive and I spearfish. So no tanks, no nothing, just go down, dive down off your own breath, spear some fish and go out. So going down to the Keys, and I have been to the Bahamas once. The clear water, it's literally like you're in an aquarium. So even though I might be there to, take a fish and bring home and eat it, I just get caught up in just being in the reefs and all the species around you and just get caught up in the blue water. And it's awesome. So I would have to say the Keys or the Bahamas. I know people from both places we're different. We're not the same. Our water's clearer than theirs and blah, blah. To me, it's all clear. It's clearer than the Tampa Bay. So
there you go. Yeah.
No, I would say that's my favorite place. The Keys, the Bahamas. I can get to the Keys a lot faster. So
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you, Mike. And it's been a lot of fun.
thanks for having me. I
Happy to be
appreciate
here.
it.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating podcast. If you are not in sunny Southwest Florida, like we are, there's a good chance that cold winter months are in your boat's future. Be prepared and check out our winterizing products and resources at PartsVu.com. And for free shipping, use the coupon code PVTalksWinter, a special perk for our podcast listeners. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for boating knowledge, to keep in touch with the PartsVu community, and for special sales and promotions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, and check out the show notes for the coupon code just mentioned, more information about PartsVu and the products we offer, as well as our boating blog, the PartsVu Exchange. And a big thanks to Mind for performing the original music featured within this podcast.